video. Welcome everyone to this third video. Today we continue with our discourse on the different types of inflorescence. By the last two videos we have already completed the different types of racemose inflorescence. We have seen that in racemose inflorescence the peduncle shows unlimited, indeterminate growth. So the growth of the peduncle continuously takes place. It does not end. So all the inflorescence, the different types of inflorescence that we mentioned in racemose inflorescence consists of cases in which the peduncle shows continuous growth. Now we come to the second main group of inflorescences, and they are called cymose inflorescence. Cymose inflorescence is actually the opposite of racemose inflorescence in terms of peduncle. In cymose inflorescence, the peduncle shows limited, definite, or determinate growth. So the growth of the peduncle ends at a certain point. And it can be seen that in cymose inflorescence, the growth of the peduncle always ends in a single flower. അപ്പോൾ ഇവിടെ റസിമോസ് ഇൻഫ്ലോറസൻസിൻ്റെ നേരെ എതിരായിട്ടുള്ള ഒരു പ്രക്രിയയാണ് നമ്മൾ കാണുന്നത്. ഇവിടെ പെഡങ്കിൾ അതിൻ്റെ വളർച്ച നിർത്തുന്നതായിട്ട് നമുക്ക് കാണാൻ സാധിക്കും. ആ വളർച്ച നിൽക്കുന്നതാകട്ടെ ഒരു പൂവുണ്ടാവുന്നതോടുകൂടിയാണ്. So cymose inflorescence consists of a peduncle which is limited, definite, or determinate, and the growth of the peduncle ends or ceases with the formation of a single flower. അപ്പോൾ ഇങ്ങനെയുള്ള ഇൻഫ്ലോറസൻസുകളിൽ പെഡങ്കിളിൻ്റെ ഗ്രോത്ത് ഒരു നിശ്ചിത സമയമെത്തുമ്പോൾ നിൽക്കുന്നത് എങ്ങനെയാണ്? ഒരു പൂ ഇങ്ങനെ അതിൻ്റെ ഏറ്റവും അറ്റത്തുണ്ടാകുന്നതോടുകൂടിയാണ് അതിൻ്റെ വളർച്ച നിൽക്കുന്നത്. And so additional flowers that are to be formed below this terminal single flower. അപ്പം ഇങ്ങനെ ഉണ്ടായ ഈ പൂവിൻ്റെ അടിയിലായിട്ടായിരിക്കും ഇനി പൂക്കൾ ഉണ്ടാവുകയാണെങ്കിൽ ഉണ്ടാവാൻ സാധ്യതയുള്ളൂ. വേറെ സ്ഥലമൊന്നുമില്ല. അപ്പോൾ അങ്ങനെയുള്ള ഒരു അറേഞ്ച്മെൻറ്റ് നമുക്കിവിടെ കാണാം. We find that new flowers are formed below the terminal flower. And so here we find basipetal succession, which is the opposite of acropetal succession. Racemose inflorescence acropetal succession ആയിരുന്നു. ഇവിടെ basipetal succession ആണ്. And here we find that older flowers are at the top and younger flowers are at the base. അപ്പോൾ ഇങ്ങനെയുള്ളൊരു അറേഞ്ച്മെൻ്റ് ആണ് ബേസിപീറ്റൽ സക്സഷൻ. ആദ്യം ഒരു പൂവ് ഏറ്റവും മുകളിൽ ഉണ്ടാവും, അതോടുകൂടി പെഡങ്കിളിൻ്റെ വളർച്ച നിൽക്കും, പുതിയ പൂക്കൾ അതിൻ്റെ അടിയിലുണ്ടാവുന്നു. ആൻഡ് ഇവൻച്വലി ഓൾഡർ ഫ്ലവേഴ്സ് ആർ at the top and younger flowers are at the base, resulting in basipetal succession. Now in some cases we find that the flowers formed are having equal length of the pedicels, or the formation of flowers lead to the older and younger flowers occupying the same level. അപ്പോൾ ഒരേ നിരയിൽ ചിലപ്പോൾ ഇങ്ങനെ നിന്നിരിക്കും. ആദ്യമുണ്ടായ പൂവിൻ്റെ അടുത്തേക്ക് പിന്നീടുണ്ടാകുന്ന പൂക്കൾ വളർന്ന് അവയെല്ലാം ഒരു നിര പോലെ വന്ന് നിൽക്കുന്ന ഒരവസ്ഥ. And this is called centrifugal succession. This is what is called centrifugal succession, where older flowers are at the center and younger flowers are towards the sides or the periphery. So this condition is the opposite of centripetal succession, which we find in racemose inflorescence. അപ്പോൾ സൈമോസ് ഇൻഫ്ലോറസൻസിൻ്റെ അകത്ത് ബേസിപീറ്റൽ സക്സഷൻ കാണാം, where older flowers are at the top and younger flowers are at the base. And we find centrifugal succession, in which the older flowers are at the center and the younger flowers are at the periphery. Now let us move into the different types of cymose inflorescence. ആദ്യമായിട്ട് വരുന്നതാണ് solitary cyme. So at the beginning of this video series, in the first video we have seen that certain flowers are not arranged in an inflorescence. They occur single as solitary flowers, and these solitary flowers are included under cymose inflorescence, and this is called a solitary cyme. അപ്പോൾ ഒറ്റയ്ക്കാണ് ഇവിടെ പൂക്കളുണ്ടാകുക. The growth of the peduncle ends in a single flower. അത്രയേ ഉള്ളൂ. മറ്റ് പൂക്കൾ അതിനോട് ചേർന്നുണ്ടാവുന്നില്ല. So we can see that a solitary cyme may be axillary. Axillary ഒക്കെ നമ്മൾ ആദ്യമേ പറഞ്ഞിരുന്നു എന്താണെന്നുള്ളത്. So it may be axillary, സൈഡിൽ നിൽക്കും, ചെമ്പരത്തിയിൽ കാണുന്ന പോലെ. So in hibiscus we find axillary solitary cymes. In Gossypium, cotton, we find that the solitary cymes are terminal. അറ്റത്ത് ഏറ്റവും മുകളിൽ വരുന്ന solitary cymes നമുക്ക് കാണാം cotton plantil. So these are solitary cymes, and here in this illustrative representation we can see terminal solitary cyme and axillary solitary cymes. So solitary cymes do not appear as a group of flowers, they are only single flowers. Now the second type is called the simple cyme or cymule, which is the most basic of the cymose arrangements. Here we find what we have mentioned earlier as the centrifugal succession, where older flowers are at the center and younger flowers are at the sides or the periphery, as can be seen in jasmine. മുല്ലപ്പൂവിൽ ഇങ്ങനെയായിരിക്കും നമ്മൾ കാണുക. നടുവിൽ the growth of the peduncle ends in a single flower, and two young flowers are developed below the older flower. So we find a bract below the older flowers, a pair of bracts. Two bracts are formed from which these two flowers develop. So simple cymes or cymules appear as clusters of 3 flowers. 3 പൂക്കളുടെ കൂട്ടങ്ങളാണ് ഈ simple cyme. The next type is the dicacial or biparous cyme. Here the growth of the peduncle terminates in a single flower. Below this flower, 2 bracts are formed, a pair of bracts are formed, giving rise to 2 flowers. So at this point it resembles the simple cyme, but here the growth continues. In each of the newly formed flowers, bracteoles, a pair of bracteoles are developed, which in turn give rise to 2 flowers. So 2 flowers are produced at a time in dicacial cyme, and the development or growth continues. This pattern continues, leading to a dicacial cyme. So we can see lots of examples of dicacial cyme. Here in the case of dianthus, we find a cluster of flowers here, and breaking down the flowers we will find this arrangement where the growth of peduncle ends in a terminal flower. A pair of bracts are formed below it, giving rise to 2 young flowers, and on these 2 young flowers bracteoles are developed, which in turn lead to the development of 2 young flowers in each of them, and this pattern continues in dianthus. Now the same is the case in Clerodendrum, which is പെരുവണം എന്ന് നമ്മൾ മലയാളത്തിൽ പറയുന്ന ചെടി, Ixora, തെച്ചി. These are all examples of dicacial or biparous cymes. The fourth type here is the monocacial cyme. In monocacial cyme, as we have seen in all cases of cymose inflorescence, the growth of the peduncle ends in a single flower. But here, only one bract develops. The other bracts are suppressed. അപ്പോൾ ഒരു ബ്രാക്റ്റ് മാത്രമേ മോണോക്കേഷ്യൽ സൈമിൽ ആദ്യമുണ്ടായ പൂവിൻ്റെ താഴെ ഉണ്ടാവുന്നുള്ളൂ. മറ്റ് ബ്രാക്റ്റുകളൊക്കെ അവിടെ വളരാൻ ഉള്ള ഒരു സാഹചര്യം ഇല്ലാതായി പോകുന്നു. They are suppressed. And from this single bract a single flower is formed, which produces a single bracteole. All other bracteoles get suppressed, which gives rise to a single new flower, and this pattern continues. So at a time only one flower is formed in a monocacial cyme. അതാണ് മോണോക്കേഷ്യൽ അല്ലെങ്കിൽ യൂണിപാരസ് സൈമിൻ്റെ പ്രത്യേകത. ഒരേ സമയത്ത് ഒരു ഫ്ലവർ മാത്രമുണ്ടാവും. ഒരു പൂവ് ഉണ്ടാവുന്ന സമയത്ത് മറ്റ് പൂവ് ഉണ്ടാവുന്നില്ല. ഒരു പൂവ് ഉണ്ടായി കഴിഞ്ഞ് അതിൽ നിന്ന് അടുത്ത ഒരു പൂവ് ഉണ്ടാവും. And monocacial cymes show two patterns of growth. In one pattern of growth, we find that all the flowers are developed on the same side. നമുക്കിവിടെ കാണാൻ സാധിക്കും, the growth of the peduncle ends in a terminal flower, as in all cymose inflorescence. And on one side of this flower, a bract is formed, giving rise to a new flower on one side. On the same side, a bracteole is formed on this flower, giving rise to a new flower. And again on this new flower, a new bracteole is formed on the same side. So all flowers are continuously formed on the same side, and this is called the helicoid cyme. As we see in Hamelia, the flowers are all developed on one side. After the formation of the oldest flower, on the same side we find the formation of the next flower, and the next flower is formed again on the same side, and this continues into the newly formed flower buds. So this is monocacial helicoid cyme. Now in the second pattern we find that the newly formed flower will be on one side, but the bracteole that is formed on this new flower will be on the opposite side, giving rise to a new flower on the opposite side. And on this new flower, the bracteole is formed on the opposite side of its formation, leading to the formation of a new flower on the opposite side. So we find alternate arrangement of flowers. Flowers are developed alternate on both sides. അപ്പോൾ അപ്പുറത്തും ഇപ്പുറത്തുമായിട്ട് ആദ്യം ഒരു പൂ ഉണ്ടാകുന്നു, അതിൻ്റെ അപ്പുറത്ത് പുതിയ പൂവ്. ഇതുണ്ടായത് ഏത് സൈഡിലാണെന്ന് വെച്ചാൽ അതിൻ്റെ നേരെ വിപരീതമായിട്ടുള്ള സൈഡിൽ അടുത്ത പൂവ്. So flowers continuously are formed on opposite sides, and this is called the scorpioid cyme, as we find in heliotropium. In heliotropium, one flower on one side, the other flower on the next side, then alternates, or as they continue growing, flowers are continuously formed on alternate sides. So this is monocacial cyme with two patterns of arrangement, helicoid and scorpioid. Now the last type of cymose inflorescence is the polycacial or multiparous cyme. Here more than two flowers are developed at a time. So we find that the growth of the peduncle ends in a single flower, and below this more than two bracts are formed, giving rise to more than two branches forming flowers. And each of these flowers possess more than two bracteoles, giving rise to more than two flowers, and this pattern continues. So at a time more than two flowers are formed in a polycacial cyme, as we find in Calotropis, which is known as irikku, മലയാളത്തിൽ ഇരിക്കെന്ന് പറയും. So this is the polycacial cyme. So these are the different types of cymose inflorescence, and they are essentially divided based on the number of flowers that are formed at each point of time. Unlike racemose inflorescence, where the classification or division is based on certain basic characteristics. അപ്പം ഇതാണ് സൈമോസ് ഇൻഫ്ലോറസൻസ്. അപ്പോൾ അടിസ്ഥാനപരമായി കാണുന്ന വ്യത്യാസങ്ങൾ, in racemose inflorescence the peduncle shows unlimited growth, but in cymose inflorescence the growth of the peduncle is limited. In racemose inflorescence we find acropetal succession, but in cymose inflorescence we find basipetal succession. In racemose inflorescence there is centripetal succession, and in cymose inflorescence there is centrifugal succession. And the division of racemose inflorescence is based on characteristics of the flower and peduncle, while in cymose inflorescence the divisions are based on the number of flowers that are formed at each point of time. Now there are a large number of inflorescence, several inflorescence, which cannot be included in racemose or cymose. We cannot include them in either of these two types, racemose or cymose, and they are called the special types of inflorescence. These special types of inflorescence can be modified cymose forms in some cases, or we can say that they are mixed inflorescence. So they may be mixed inflorescence or modified cymose forms. So in our next video we will be dealing with the special types of inflorescence. Thank you very much, and we'll be meeting in the next video.